Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, beautiful people. Welcome to another episode of Life with Shenita. I am Dr. Shenita Connolly, and I am delighted that whether you are watching it live tonight, or tomorrow, or next week, or next year, I'm delighted that you have taken the time to watch this important episode. Thank you so much for making the time. The topic tonight is near and dear to my heart for many reasons. 2 years ago, I lost my older brother, David, to prostate surgery complications, which should have been a very simple procedure, and he should still be with us today if I had my way. However, he has transitioned on and he was very young. He was only 60 years young. And so my friend and brother, Wendell Limitless Hollins, is a prostate cancer survivor who is on a mission to bring awareness and to help other men to live a long, vibrant life. In addition to Wendell Hollins joining me this evening, I also have my colleague, Bernard Shaw, who is also a partner to Wendell in this initiative, who is going to share some valuable information as well. So I'm hoping that people will sit back, soak it all in, take it very seriously because the matter is very serious. So, what is prostate cancer? Prostate cancer is a cancer that occurs specifically in the prostate. The prostate is a small walnut-shaped gland in males that produces the seminal fluid that nourishes and transports sperm. Prostate cancer is one of the most common types of cancer. Many prostate cancers grow slowly and are confined to the prostate gland, where they may not cause serious harm. However, while some types of prostate cancer grows slowly and may need minimal or even no treatment, other types are aggressive and can spread quickly. Prostate cancer that's detected early, when it's still confined to the gland, has the best chance of survival or successful treatment. So I am going to invite the gentleman in to share in this conversation, this very important conversation this evening about prostate awareness and a event that Wendell is hosting. I think this is the year 2 of F to the third power. So we are going to invite them in. So please sit back and enjoy this conversation. Good evening, Wendell.
Hello, Dr. Connolly. How are you today?
I am well. How are you?
Absolutely fantastic.
Well, I am so delighted that you are here to share your experience, your wisdom, your goals with this initiative. So I just want to say thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity and thank you for our friendship through the years.
Yes, absolutely. And Bernard, we can't see you, but we certainly can hear you. So welcome to the broadcast.
Thank you. I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad you invited me, and looking forward to sharing what I know to those out there that perhaps benefit from that.
Yes, absolutely. You gentlemen have been on a mission together for a few years with me. I think we started our first conversation about prostate cancer back in 2020.
I believe you're right.
And so we don't have Dr. Bridges and we don't have,
Charlie.
well, maybe it was 2021, but we don't have Dr. Bridges and we don't have Charlie. But Charlie sends his regards. He's out of town. He would have been here had he been in town. So I'm grateful to have you all. So let's talk about it. First, before we get into the conversation, I want you all to introduce yourselves to the audience. Wendell, if you would be gracious enough to, introduce yourself to the audience.
Yes, my name is Wendell Limitless Hollins. I am a two-time prostate cancer survivor, 2015 and also 2021. And what Shenita shared is near and dear to my heart because the week before her brother unfortunately transitioned due to complications, I had my second prostate cancer surgery. So it's very serious. And if you don't remember anything that I say today, remember these two words: get checked, because prostate cancer, by the time this shows up, it's been in your body a long time, and the chances of survival and recovery are a lot greater the earliest that it's checked. In addition to that, I'm a spokesmodel for prostate cancer awareness. That's what's on my business card. And this event that Shenita talked about, my second annual Family, Friends, and Fun event, I self sponsor that. It's just about the people. I've got a band that's going to be playing with a guy who used to play with Barry White overseas. We're going to have an old fashioned jam session, and we're going to have a lot of fun. It's a family event at Rose Jordan Park, 100 East Kroger Street in Logan'sville, Georgia. Once you get into the park, just follow the signs that say Pavilion Rental, and we're right there by the lake, the playground, and the walking trail. We invite all of you to come out and have some fun and get educated. And remember, get checked.
Yes, that's so important. Take the time and get checked. So thank you, Wendell.
You're welcome.
Bernard, would you graciously introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi. Name is Bernard Shaw. I'm just an informed science major from an HBCU, and over the
Can you,
years,
can you share that HBCU with us?
of course, the awesome Norfolk State University, home of the marching Spartan Legion Band. Behold the green and gold.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I
I
love
love it. I love
But
it. Yes, be
yeah,
proud.
yeah, absolutely. I used to work in healthcare. I was the first African American operating room spine specialist hired back in 1995 in the country. I've been in a lot
Wow.
of procedures in the OR. I've been in prostatectomies. I've been in hysterectomies. I've been in all types of procedures and have worked with healthcare professionals over all these years. My not my master's, my bachelor's degree is in biology, and I've always kept up, particularly with prostate cancer. I have some friends of mine who went to high school with who are facing the challenges that has presented to their lives. And I try to share with them what I have learned, and I continually read. I have a great curiosity as to all the new discoveries and things that are going on with that. So the main thing we want to let people know, particularly men, is you got to get over yourself, and has been said and will be said.
Mhm.
Just get checked. Just getting checked doesn't mean, even if it comes back that there's some indications, and they usually use a couple of different processes. It doesn't mean your life's going to change, and everything is going to go downhill. So, but if you check early, there are more options. That's almost any disease that affects the body. If you don't get it checked early, it takes away your options. And so I just want to, whenever I can, share what I know, share what I've seen, and hopefully that'll assist somebody in our audience.
Yes. Thank you so much. Um, so Wendell, you mentioned the fact that you are a two-time prostate cancer survivor. Can you shed a little more about when you were first diagnosed, when you were secondly diagnosed, what that journey looked like for you?
Oh, absolutely. It is so exciting. It really is. I mean, prostate cancer liked me so much. It came back twice and I beat it down just like Muhammad
I
Ali and
hear you.
George Foreman.
Oh,
I know
Lord.
that's right.
So, first time I was diagnosed in 2015, um, and both times were caught by my annual physical. Now, here's the thing: if you don't hear anything other than get checked from me, I had zero symptoms both times. None, nada, zilch.
Mm,
It was picked up by my PSA test. And for you men out there, it's a blood test. When you get your blood work done, just tell them to check for PSA. It stands for prostate specific antigen. It's an indication that you may have prostate cancer. But the key thing that you can do if you don't want the digital rectal exam, where they put a finger up your anus and probe around your prostate. So please, please, please get checked. At least have the blood work done. So mine was detected at that time. And gentlemen, I'm gonna tell you, when they told me about my elevated PSA, my brain left my head. I really was just overly concerned because I had absolutely no knowledge about it. So I quickly had to educate myself. And the doctor told me about all the different options. And because it was called early, what they first did was active surveillance. And active surveillance is because it's not growing fast, they just watch it. But then it started picking up. And so they gave me some options. And I chose cryosurgery. And they only do cryosurgery when they catch it really, really early. And that's when they freeze half your prostate. Now, before I made that decision, again, the PSA and the digital rectal exam is just an indication that you may have prostate cancer, but then they do what they call a biopsy. And that's where they take samples from your prostate on your left side and your right side. So they took samples of mine. And for those of you who have the biopsy, you know it sounds like a gigantic staple when they're taking those samples. And my left side showed cancers in 4 areas, so they froze it. I was good to go until 2021. And that's when it came back. Um, and so I had to deal with it again. But by that time, I was informed. I was talking to people about it, and I was excited about the opportunity, even though I didn't want it to happen. But you deal with it and you keep it moving. Now, having said that, I chose at that time to have my prostate taken out. And there is no one approach for that. And if your doctor ever tells you that there's only one option, no, there's multiple options. There's radiation, there's proton therapy, again, active surveillance, cryosurgery. Find out and get informed and make the best decision for you. So when I decided to have it taken out the second time, I've got to give a shout out to Georgia Urology. Dr. Gonzalez, fantastic surgeon. And my urologist, Dr. Anglade, he participated in my first annual prostate cancer event last year. So between the two of them, I had my prostate taken out, and my beautiful fiance at the time, now my wife, was right by my side, and that made a difference. For those 2 weeks that I was recovering, she's just priceless. I love her to death, and she could be a nurse in another life. But it helps to have that support. But if you don't have that support, believe in yourself and follow the doctor's orders. Now, I want to say a third thing, and I hope you don't forget. My surgeon told me this. He said, Dr. Gonzalez said, the problem with prostate cancer is surgery is it doesn't hurt enough. After you get over the initial hurt, you think, oh, I feel good enough. I'll go out there and play basketball, blah, blah, blah. But it takes over a year to heal. And please, please, please follow the directions, do the physical therapy, and not just at the physical therapist, but follow up at home and make some modifications to your diet so you can all live a long, long time. So you all can come to my 20th Family, Friends, and Fun event, raising awareness about prostate cancer.
So let me ask you this question. So 2015 was the first time you were diagnosed with prostate cancer. And 6 years
Yes.
later, was it 6 years later? 2021?
Yeah, 2021.
Okay. So 6 years later, it came back.
Yes. It loved me
So
so
about
much. It
six
just
years,
came back.
it just didn't know who it was coming back to.
Oh, no, I'm
A
knocking. I went
warrior.
right in my left. Pow, pow, pow.
Okay. So what, I heard you say earlier when you first were diagnosed that it kind of took your mind, like this couldn't be happening to me. What was that like?
It was terrifying. It really was. All these visions flew through my head about death. I mean, in the past, prior to now, there weren't that many options. And it's like other cancer. When you hear that C word, I think death. But
Yeah.
that's not true anymore. So I was really terrified. This is before I actually found out I had it. That was just when my PSA went up. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's when I just dug in and started doing research
Mm-hmm.
to take away being terrified with facts and data so I can make an informed decision or at least educate myself about what I was experiencing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to encourage everybody, we all go through things in life where we're terrified. Education is a very powerful thing to relieve that fear.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Bernard,
Yeah,
you
I
want?
think, yeah, I want to get in on the prevention side. My
Mm-hmm.
general practitioner, He and I went to college together. We're both biology majors, and of course, he's an MD now, and I'm doing all kind of things. So
Hmm.
anyway, he said it. It is easier to prevent disease than it is to cure disease.
Right.
Now, a lot of times you may have a genetic predisposition for a certain situation, such as if you have a direct family member that's got prostate cancer or had it, or if you have a family member that's got hypertension or diabetes, you may have a genetic predisposition for that. However, if you don't give the body the environment to have that predisposition express itself, it doesn't mean it's going to happen.
Right.
So, and it's all back to the basics. I mean, diet, 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 diet. We talk about diet all the time, but we see so many commercials on TV with so much good food, and all that food they want to give you, a lot of that is not good for you, but it tastes good.
Right.
So,
Right. Absolutely.
but, and that affects your overall body's health so you can better deal with any kind of cancer, particularly for men, prostate cancer. And it's going to take some changes in how you eat, what you eat, also, you want to look at your lifestyle. You gotta, the body is designed to move. A sedentary lifestyle, if the job you have keeps you sitting in a chair for 6 to 8 hours a day, moving around, if it's just getting up every hour, walking around, that's going to help to
Mhm.
increase your overall body health, which means you're better able to fight the cancer internally. Now, if you look down and you can't see your junk because of your belly, that's a sign you got some work to do.
Right.
but
Absolutely.
but it's not as difficult as sometimes it is made to be because we've heard about all these diets, do this, do that, Mediterranean, and Joe's diet, and whatever. It really gets down to the basics, and I
Mhm.
tell people one way you can start, real simple. It doesn't cost you any money. Is intermittent fasting. All that means
Yes.
is you say, let's say at night, I'm not going to eat past 9 p.m. and I'm not going to eat before 9 a.m. or before 7 a.m. the next morning. You
Hmm.
don't change it. That's all you do. You say, I'm not going to eat after 9 p.m. That's intermittent fasting. And what happens is when you put your body in a fasting state, that makes your body start to go through your entire system, go through all the blood vessels, looking for little goblets of fat and cholesterol and so forth. And it helps to clean those things out.
Hmm.
So again, that's the easy start. Intermittent fasting. Anybody can do it. Okay.
Yes. You're
And
right.
and start with that. I mean,
Hmm.
when people say you got to diet, go cold turkey and be in a calorie deficit, I understand all that. But we are
Hmm.
human beings and we get hit with all these commercials. My gosh, I like so many of them. I don't eat it.
Right.
But
Right.
it's the temptation is there. So start simple, look at your diet, exercise, and then stress. Stress is one thing that ages you.
Mhm.
Stress is one thing that weakens your immune system. So you don't want to have a weak immune system when you're trying to fight off any kind of cancer, whether it's prostate, whether it's uterine cancer, whether it's breast cancer. You want to make sure your immune system is as strong as it can be. So if you do the first two things, which are, we talked about your diet, we talked about exercise. That's going to help strengthen your immune system so you can better fend off whatever this environment we're in throws at us.
Yeah.
Yeah, and,
That
and I
that
like
is
to add
good.
about stress, and I think that's one of the key reasons mine came back in 2021. So, a lot of stress. My mother caught fire in December 2018. I spent 5 weeks in the hospital with her. Then I had to authorize the hospital to take her off
Mm.
a life support on January 11th, 2019. And that just put me on a stress that I never experienced in my entire life. And I truly believe, like Bernard said, my body was weakened, my mind was weakened, and I was just kind of holding on. And I think that truly did contribute to it. So,
Mhm.
one thing that helps is to have somebody to talk it out with, to get that stress out with exercise, etc. But especially chronic stress is prevalent in our communities for a lot of
Yeah.
reasons that we'll talk about um, at another day. But deal with that stress, people. Deal with it because it does affect your health, like Bernard said, and it can be like a silent killer. Just like if you don't get checked, that prostate cancer can be a silent killer also.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I want to highlight too, you mentioned about nutrition, food, but sometimes vitamins. We may not get all of the nutrients we need from the food. Um, Vitamin D, Bernard,
Yes, you're
has been significant for
Yes.
me, particularly during these COVID years, I didn't even realize I was in a deficit at one point and had to have prescriptive vitamin D medication because I was in a deficit. So I make sure I take a vitamin D supplement on a daily basis.
Yeah, and that's true. One of the factors when you look into vitamins, we all hear about vitamins are good for you, if not in excess. And there are a lot of purveyors of vitamins, and it's unregulated because when it's a supplement, the FDA does not check the purity or the consistency of what's in a lot of packages you find in these stores. So just when you're looking at vitamins, try to find a reputable seller. There are certain different organizations that guarantee purity, guarantee this, guarantee that. But Shanita is exactly right. When you're in a vitamin D deficient state, you're more apt to develop cancer and other health issues. And I don't want to get into right now, but there is a reason why that occurs. So take care of your health, move, try to reduce stress. I know that's easy to say, sometimes it's harder to do, but I always say take it in little steps. Do a little step. You know,
Right,
those little steps add up.
right.
Hey, Bernard, I know you had talked to me about before. We're all talking about vitamin D supplements, but one thing that doesn't have to be rated or scanned by any organization is just walking out and getting some sunshine and
Yes,
absorbing
You're so
vitamin D
right.
that way too.
yes.
Can you
You're so
touch
Natural.
on that
right.
a little bit more, please?
Yeah. Now, typically, and you're exactly right, Wendell. It doesn't cost you money to walk outside and get some
Hmm.
sunshine in your face. You know, I know the weather's still in the summertime mode, but I know when we go into wintertime mode, we tend to spend less time outside, which
Right.
means the body can produce some vitamin D based on sunlight. But when you're getting limited sunlight because it's cold outside and your job requires you to be inside, then that's where supplements can fill the gap. Now, one of the things about vitamin D is that if you're vitamin D deficient, what happens is your cells are in a mode where they can start to replicate, and that can be a cancerous situation. When you have optimum levels of vitamin D in your body, the cells mature and they die off. They mature and they die off. When you have lower than the necessary amount that your body needs, they're going to mature but then keep replicating. And that's when you get in a situation that certain types of cancers can develop. And African Americans who have more melanin on our skin, typically we need more sunlight to absorb the amount necessary for our body to create it. So if we don't get outside and we're inside and it's cold outside and the sun's not bright every day, look at supplementation. And vitamin D is not an expensive vitamin, believe me, but it is worth the extra effort to do that to help make sure, and that's going to help strengthen your immune system too.
Shanita, are you mute? We can't hear you.
I'm sorry, when we think about symptoms of prostate cancer, what are some things that we should be aware of that could possibly show up? Can either of you elaborate on that?
Sure.
Just in case there's somebody watching, a man watching or a wife watching or a sister or a mother or anyone watching, and they're paying attention to their family members and they're like,
Okay.
what
I
should
just
they
got
be thinking about?
Yeah, I just got an article. I just printed it out. It's called Seven Key Signs Men Need to Look For That Might Mean They Have Prostate Cancer.
Hmm.
The seven symptoms are trouble urinating. If your urine stream starts to get a little weaker, a little weaker, a little weaker, there's a reason for that. Doesn't mean you have prostate cancer, but they said that may be an indication that you could have prostate enlargement, which it's called it's called benign prostatic hyperplasia. You could have that. That's not
Hmm.
prostate cancer. It means the prostate can swell as it gets older. Decreased force in the stream of urine. Okay. If you have blood in your urine, if you have blood in semen, if you have bone pain, losing weight without trying, and erectile dysfunction. Now, those are seven symptoms. Doesn't mean you have prostate cancer, but it says that may mean more investigation is warranted. And again, as Wendell has said on more than one occasion, the earlier you catch it, the more options you have to deal with it.
That's good. Wendell, you want to share, kind of piggyback off of that?
Yes. Yeah. The thing is, like Bernard was saying, those symptoms are real. Um, but again, I want to emphasize too, because some men, I know men, because I'm a man. They're like, okay, I got 7. Let me look and observe that, and then I can get checked, see what's going on. But again, both times mine was caught, absolutely no symptoms. So you want to do preventive, go in there and get checked and have your PSA done. And if you're not man enough to have somebody probe up your butt to save your life, that's on you. But at least have your PSA checked, okay?
And
And
I've heard that.
hopefully that
I've
before the broadcast is over, we'll talk about it.
I've
Go ahead,
also
Shanita.
heard, Wendell, that things have changed, and so they don't necessarily have to do the probe in the rectum. Is that true?
I've read
Say that
that.
again. 'Cause-
Oh, I say I've heard that medicine has changed, and that
mhm.
there are tests that can be done that doesn't call for the probing of the rectum. Is
Yes,
that true?
yes, it
Yes, from
is.
what I've
That is
yes.
true. Go ahead,
Hmm.
Bernard.
Yeah. Now, yes, I've read that too. Now, also, people have to realize the DRE is a matter of seconds. It's not a long procedure. I
Mhm.
mean, it could be like 5 to 10 seconds. That's it. Because what
Hmm.
the doctor is trying to determine is your prostate enlarged and can they feel any nodules on it? It doesn't take a long time to determine that. So, the DRE, digital rectal exam, is one of many tools that are available to the physician to determine if that situation or those symptoms are indicative of prostate. And then, of course, you have active surveillance. You have a lot of different things that can be done.
Yes.
But don't let that one procedure or one diagnostic thing hold you back. I mean, granted, first time I had one, I was like, whoa. But, it wasn't that bad. I was like, I heard this, I heard that. And I was like,
Mhm.
okay, all right, that's cool. You got to do what you got to do. But,
Hmm.
that way, once a year, at least I know you've done that, done the PSA, and I can have a sense of, not want to say, I say ease that if I keep doing all the preventive things, exercise, diet, reduce stress, that I've kept my body's immune system as strong as it can be to stave off any kind of cancer, not just prostate, but all those other types of cancers.
And I'm glad you mentioned that because we're focusing on prostate cancer tonight, but there are so many other ones. And
Hmm.
I actually had a screening done last year because I have two sisters, one my mother's daughter and one my dad's daughter, who both are breast cancer survivors. And
Hmm.
so I wanted to check to see what does the test show in terms of my chances of getting cancer. And they did a series of all types of cancers just to kind of look. Of course, it's not 100% accurate, but it just definitely gave me a snapshot of my chances of you know, having different types of cancer. So I think, like you said, we need to be very proactive with our diet, our exercise, our medical care. Many times we are so busy doing life that we forget to make the appointment and schedule the appointment. We don't have somebody to be on us to make sure that we are going to the appointment. You know what
True.
I mean? So sometimes we make the appointments and we don't even get there.
Yeah,
Go ahead, Wendell.
yeah. But even beyond that, Shanita, some men take care of their cars better than they take care of themselves.
Yeah.
That car will be shining, rims will be shining so bright you need sunglasses to look at it. They'll take Q-tips to clean out the air vents, but they won't get checked. And I know growing up in Cleveland, Ohio, I can't remember one conversation we as men had about health. And we talk about sports. Cleveland Browns, I'm still a lifelong Browns fan, but the Browns aren't going to keep me alive.
That's
I
true.
got to do that for myself. And
Yeah.
that's the importance of shows like you're having, Shanita, the initiative that Bernard and I are working on. You know, we talk
Mhm.
about subjects that we as men normally don't talk about, especially if it has anything to do with our penis or our sexual function. We're like, oh,
Right.
don't hear nah, 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 like little kids,
Right.
But
Right.
then you'll be looking like a beautiful casket.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you'll be looking like,
Absolutely.
a beautiful casket, because that's what you'll be
Mm-hmm.
laying in if you don't get checked, if you don't take care of your life. And like Bernard said, it's just minor adjustments just to continue living. Outside of prostate cancer, you just want to live. You
Right.
want to live a full life. You don't just want to exist. Of course, there's no guarantee. You can do everything correct. You're still gonna die, right? Things happen, but there's no need to self-inflict that to yourself. Of what we're trying to
Or
say, man.
escalate.
Get checked, get
Escalate
in
it.
control. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Get that DRE.
Because
Like Bernard said, it doesn't take long.
yeah,
It
because I
doesn't.
honestly
Go ahead,
believe
Shanita.
that my husband, if he had taken his heart health more seriously, he would still be here. Um, I
Hmm.
honestly believe that. He was 61. He was young when he passed away. My brother was 60. He was young when he passed away. And
Hmm.
so I think it's important for us to take it very seriously. Hence is why, I was been on this lifestyle change journey for myself to lose the fat, because we know the
Hmm.
fat can cause all kind of issues, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
Right.
and so that's why I promote the way I do, because I want to inspire other people to do the same for themselves. Because everybody knows their own struggles. It's a lifeline,
Yeah. And
life's long
specifically
struggle.
for black, yeah.
Hmm.
So and specifically for black men, prostate cancer disproportionately affects black men. There's a lot of
Hmm.
theories as to why. I'm not going to get into those, but I'm saying that because most recommendations were for men to get checked at 50. For black men, you should start getting checked at 40, at the least.
Hmm. Hmm.
Catch it early, deal with it, and keep it moving, man. It's serious out there. We have things to do, and my target audience is Black American men and the people who love them, because
Hmm.
the people who love them will get us to do some things that we normally wouldn't do, and
Right.
that's important. So it takes a village. It takes a village, and like Bernard and Dr. Conley both expressed, we're talking about prostate cancer, but we're talking about your overall health. We're talking about your overall vitality. We're talking you being around to leave a legacy for the next two generations.
Mhm.
It's serious, man, and we're here to support you. I've had people call me in Alabama, Georgia, and Ohio I never even met before, just by referrals. A doctor 2 weeks ago called me about a guy in Alabama, Mobile. Called him, talked to him for 45 minutes. We're available for you. Take
I
advantage
love
of it.
that. I love that. I love that. I love the proactiveness and the support that you're giving to other men
Thank you.
as it relates to this. I lost a really dear friend of mine to prostate cancer in March of 2020, just before COVID hit. And it was just so sad to see my friend pass away and how small he had gotten. And I got a chance to visit him in the nursing home, and the pain that he was in and the morphine that they had to give him just to keep him comfortable. It was just heart wrenching. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So I try to tell myself it is worth the pain of the exercise, of the walking, of the changes
Yes.
that need to be made on the front end versus the pain that you're going to have to endure on the other side
Very
of the
well put.
Agreed.
diagnosis.
And also, they're finding that people are getting cancers at a much younger age. They're
Yes.
finding
Yes.
that in the old days, it was thought, well, they're older now and they got this cancer and that kind of
Hmm.
cancer. Well, guess what?
Hmm.
They're finding cancers in 30-year-olds, 40-year-olds,
Yes.
50-year-olds.
Yes.
And those particular individuals who never thought about, getting cancer,
Mhm.
those are ones who are now coming up more often with cancer. And the number one killer of all people in this country is heart disease.
Yes.
Heart disease. Got to
Yes.
be aware of that. I spoke to a lady who's been in a dialysis technician for 19 years, and she said, it's a shame that they're building 7 more centers right here in the Atlanta area, and guess what? Almost all of the patients are African American.
Yep.
So
Yes.
end-stage renal disease is no joke. Watch your health, because if you don't watch your health, you don't have anything to stand on.
Yes. 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 And it goes
Yeah.
back to what you
Yeah.
said
Early.
earlier, Bernard. You said earlier about the diet. Forget the fruit punch. I remember when my grandson, he's 18 now, was leaving. We were leaving the hospital, bringing him home, and the nurse said, "Please don't feed your kids fruit punch. It is
Sugar.
full of sugar.
That's
Stay
right.
away from red fruit punch." That nurse was she drove that into my daughter. Do not give your children fruit punch because
Great advice.
and what we I guess what we have to really think about is if a child comes home in this natural state of no impurities and they thrive off of milk or breast milk, which is the best milk, and then eventually we wean them off the breast milk and we start giving them all kinds of stuff that's not so good for them. So when we think about it, are we setting them up for failure? Sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly. And so we have to do due diligence to make sure that we are doing research too, and we understand what foods are good, what foods are not so good, what should we eat sparingly, what should we eat the majority of the time. Should the plate be 80% greens and a small portion of proteins, greens and fruit? And we need to really think about that and really teach that to our children. If we want to treat ourselves every now and again, okay, well, let's do that. But let's not make that a norm.
Right, I agree. Also, on the area of diet, there have been a lot of studies that have been published that say there's a correlation between a milk protein and those who develop prostate cancer. So, it's been also written that as a man, you want to try to stay away from whole milk and dairy products as much as you can because research studies have shown there's a link between the proteins, the certain protein in milk that shows up in people who develop prostate cancer. So, you can get not a whole lot of non-dairy options out there. So, if whole milk, as far as prostate cancer is concerned, is not a good thing.
Mm-hmm. That's
Hey,
good.
Bernard, could you touch a little bit on, we touched about sugar, right?
Hmm.
But a lot of this red punch, what we call red Kool-Aid, it doesn't have even sugar in it. And to me, and that's why I'm running by you, high fructose corn syrup, sugar's bad, but high fructose corn syrup is worse. And then it's in so many products here. So I tell people, read the ingredients and avoid high fructose corn syrup at all costs. Is that valid?
Yes, yes, yes. We have to become label readers when we buy things. Okay, and if you look real close, sometimes you might be surprised what's in what you bought that you thinking, oh, it's good, and it's got high fructose corn syrup because what happens is that goes directly and causing an insulin spike. Then because of that insulin spike, you start having a lot of those, your body develops what's called insulin resistance. When you have insulin resistance, that's when you get high sugar levels in your bloodstream. And that's what causes damages to in your entire body, all of your blood vessels. And when you have that, you have hardened blood vessels through your body, major contributor to ED. Mr. Ed is sitting there waiting. So whenever you
Mm-hmm.
want to drink that,
Yeah.
drink that sweet drink, just drink it. That Mr. Head over there, you're waiting on
Right.
it.
And then you got a whole bunch of unhappy wives.
That's
Yes,
right.
you're exactly right. I
Girlfriend.
don't need to say it, and it's exactly right. But for what? For if your man express, if he has ED, okay, you may want to. One of the things that's pretty common, and there are also all kind of changes and things and reasons why. But one universal aspect of it that usually indicates there's something going on in that man's circulatory system, which means he could have hardened arteries, all that red juice, uh,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that can cause the arteries to harden. And when they harden, they can't expand to allow blood flow down there to allow him to, have an erection.
Right.
So
Right.
again, I hope for the men and the ladies who are listening and looking at their men, try to hold back on if he's a whole milk drinker, have him cut back. If he's
Mhm.
drinking that red juice, give him an option.
Right.
It doesn't matter if he know why. Well, you should tell him why after a while, but
Right.
tell him this is for you, not for me.
Right.
This is
Right.
for you. And that's something you can do. And I just want to mention one more thing. One of the things in our community that Wendell touched on is we don't talk about, at least black men,
Mhm.
with about prostate cancer. We don't talk about it. But wouldn't it be good if we make it a habit of, hey, have you had your prostate checked this year? Have you had your exam done this year? Have you had your annual physical? I know you're working. I know you don't have the kind of health care you think you should have, but why can't we start it and say, hey, get yourself checked out this year? I know you feel good. You look all right. You don't want something to be hidden, just like hypertension, that's the silent
Hmm.
killer, and that can cause an increased risk of heart attack and stroke. But some people have no symptoms at all. Then all of a
Exactly.
sudden they fall out one day and, "Well, what's wrong with so and so? What's wrong with Rodney?" Come to find out, he goes in the OR and his hypertension is 200 over 130. So we should get in the. I know it's hard to change behaviors, but I have no problem. A lot of people I talk to now, I ask, "Yeah, how's it going, Ray?" And they hear I used to be in healthcare. Well, have you had your annual checkup? What are you talking about? You had your
Hmm.
prostate checked? Oh man, I ain't got. How do you know? I mean, it's
Mhm.
just a simple conversation, not to
Right,
beat somebody over the head, but I think it's a behavior that all the loved ones and family members need to start saying, hey, this is something I can do.
right.
Yeah. And
And
one
be
of
a
the
bugaboo. If I had to do it all over again, I would have been a bugaboo for Winston, right?
Hmm.
Sometimes we don't want to, I don't want to nag. Well, you better nag
Yeah,
because
yeah,
a nagging could save a life. And I've heard
that's
many
right.
stories
hmm
about, man, my wife, got on me. So I was like, okay, 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 I'm going. And then you find out whatever is wrong. So be a bugaboo
yeah.
if
Hmm.
that's
And,
what
and
it takes.
And on the opposite side of it, and Bernard touched on about erectile dysfunction, right? Have a conversation with your sex partner about it. Hey, here's the impact. And again, with today's technology, there's so many ways to treat erectile dysfunction. They've got pumps, they've got pills, they've got injections, they've got implants. There's a lot of options out there. Explore your options, but talk to your partner you're having sex with and say, "Hey, baby, this is where I am right now. What do we want?
Mhm.
We're all grown, and let's have those grown-up conversations other than about
Hmm.
sports and entertainment."
Right.
Hmm.
Real life stuff.
Hmm.
Yes.
And something
So,
else. Go ahead.
go ahead, Bernard.
No, I was saying, if you receive a diagnosis of prostate cancer, it does not mean right away the end of your sex life. As Wendell was talking about, there are a lot of treatments available. I remember Dr. Bridges saying a while back on another show, Shenita, that he said if you present to him, a certain doctor, and you're not having erectile dysfunction, and they determine you have prostate cancer, he said it's about a 95% chance you're going to still be able to function sexually after
Mhm.
prostate procedures if it wasn't a problem before.
Right. Absolutely. So there's always hope.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's always
Yeah.
hope. And as you age, your testosterone level naturally goes down. And
Mhm.
so, you gotta be aware of that too. You
Yeah.
know.
Just like women, estrogen,
Hmm.
changes. And I'm tired of these little hairs coming underneath.
It happens though.
It happens. So, the older we get, the more changes happens to our bodies. And so we have to be aware of what's going on. So as we prepare to kind of wrap up, I want to leave some time for us to talk about this family, food, and fun.
Family, friends, and fun.
Okay, family, friends, and fun and food.
No, BYOL. Bring your own food. Y'all want that fried chicken? Y'all want those chitlins? Y'all want those carcinogenic ribs? Y'all got to bring all that stuff yourself.
But you know what,
Okay.
Bernard? I started doing events, and Bernard, you'll remember this, and Wendell should remember it as well. When we had the gathering for Life After the Rain in Midtown, and I had a salad bar. Do y'all remember that?
uh,
I didn't
At
make
the high,
that one,
yeah, I
but
think,
I'm glad.
yeah,
and we had a salad bar station, and that's what we served with.
that's right.
I
Excellent.
think it was salmon and chicken as protein options.
Great.
And so, I'm more aware when I'm having events now to be more health conscious in my food choices.
Good move.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the key. And another thing I want to touch on when people talk about food choice and healthy eating, one of the number one things that I hear is, oh, it costs more. Okay, guess what? That can help you two ways, right? A,
Hmm.
you need to lose weight, right?
Hmm.
So you spend money, you probably eat less, right? And you're eating healthier, so you have a better life. So what price is your life? And if you go to a convenience store now, a small bag of potato chips is $2.28. Don't ask me how I know, but I do.
What's your favorite chip?
Hey, Lay's, no, actually, Lay's, wavy Lay's, plain.
Okay, okay, okay.
That's my number one go-to. And like Bernard said, you touched on this, Shenita. I personally, I don't deny myself anything. I just don't want a lot of things that I used to want a lot. Like I
Right.
used to
Okay.
eat a pint of Mayfield walnut ice cream almost every day when I worked at the
Wow.
fire department.
And,
And
and you know, something else, I was just looking at, I'm sorry for interrupting you. Another one of my Facebook friends said that it has been one whole year that he has not had alcohol.
mm,
All right.
One whole year.
Good for
right.
him. Good for him.
Yes. Isn't that awesome?
Hmm.
That is good. And one thing I want to mention too, and talk about price and cost of food. If you were not to buy the amount of meat you buy now, you'd be
Yes.
surprised how much money you would save on each time you go to the grocery store. And
Yep.
if you figure a package of chicken thighs, okay, $6, $7. You want to go with turkey, a little more than that. But you'd be surprised how much less you're gonna spend if you don't have those big, meat expenses in your normal grocery bag.
Yep. Yep.
Or if you're
You're
like
right.
me, when I used to love steak, right? That's $18 a pound right there.
Yeah.
I went into Sprouts 2 days ago, walked out with a bag full of healthy vegetables and fruits for $13,
Yep.
less than the price of one steak.
That is
That's
Yes.
so
raw. I
true.
Yes.
had to cook my steak. I can eat my vegetables raw.
Absolutely.
Now, there's also a correlation that's been researched indicating that, along with the milk protein, red meat intake is a
Yes.
contributing factor to prostate cancer and other cancers as well. So be aware of that. Now, everybody keeps talking about lean cuts of meat. Okay, it's still red meat.
And you know what else I heard too, and I'm not sure how, valid it is, but charcoal,
Oh, that's true.
grilled
Yes,
meats,
yes,
and linked to prostate cancer.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. You are
One
so
of my
right.
friends, one of my friends who actually is a prostate cancer survivor, he said he grilled food every single
Mm,
day before
whoa.
his diagnosis.
Mm.
Mm. Well, yeah, that's not in dispute. Whenever you, first of all, you grill, it's a temperature issue, and the charcoal flavor, which a lot of people like, that's
Hmm.
carcinogenic. That's carbon. You're eating
Yes.
carbon.
Yes.
So, but again, there are small changes you can start to make now that do not cost a lot of money
Hmm.
that can
Hmm.
help your body cleanse itself of the carcinogens we have in our environment and the carcinogens we have in our foods and improve your immune system so your body can fight off not just prostate cancer. You got COVID sitting out there waiting now.
Yeah.
So they got some other variants that are out there. So again, particularly for us, let's try when we talk to our fellow black men. Hey
Hmm.
man, have you had your prostate checked in the last year or so?
Hmm.
Real simple. You ain't trying to beat him over the back. And ladies, if your man, sometimes you got to bug him.
Yep.
And if you don't want to eat right, you cook right. You
Right.
don't eat what you cook.
That's right. And that's right. And I want to, just kind of thank you all for sharing this valuable information. And I hope people are, soaking it in, that they will share it, that they will have the conversations with their loved ones about colon cancer, prostate cancer, breast cancer in men, all sorts of other issues, especially the heart issues. But Wendell, I want to give you an opportunity to kind of highlight the event that's taking place this weekend.
Oh, this weekend is going to be fun. It is a family event. I purposely set it up at a pavilion right beside a lake, right beside a walking path, and literally right beside a playground because we need to get the whole family involved as far as prostate cancer awareness. Now, what I do is I call in general like my podcast on intermixradio.com every Monday from 7:30 to 8 o'clock. It's called Prostate Cancer Awareness and Fun. I try to create a fun environment so people are receptive to the message that I'm delivering. So it starts from 4 o'clock to 8 o'clock, and you're going to be educated on something fantastic. There's a man called Edgar Redmond. and he's is in the music business over 60 years ago. His son's going to be presenting his music and history behind it. And the reason I touch on that is just like prostate cancer, if it's in your body, there's certain other knowledge we don't know. I build that around that. In addition to that, we'll have prostate cancer education. And for those of you who are as old as I am, Shanice's about, she looks about 19, so she wouldn't know. But there used to be a guy named Barry White, and he
We know
played,
Barry.
and my buddy Jordu, who will be performing there, he was the keyboardist that traveled with Barry White overseas. He'll be doing two mini concerts. We'll also have, again, growing up in the inner city of Cleveland, you gain a lot of your knowledge from the barbershop. So our prostate cancer panel will be called the barbershop. Same thing we did last year. And we're going to educate people. And we're also going to have a Q&A session. And here's what I want to touch on. I've had a lady ask me before. She said, can I ask a stupid question? I said, there's not one. She said, do women have a prostate? I said, no. Now, this week, a man walked up to me. I was always talking about prostate cancer. And he didn't know men had a prostate. So it's important to not take things for granted, because how can you get checked for something that you don't
You don't
know
even know
that
about.
you have? And so
Absolutely.
that's the highlight of it, is a barbershop panel. We have a urologist there. Bernard will be on the panel. We've got a Lawrenceville City Councilman there. He does not have prostate cancer, but he's known a lot of people who died, because my mantra is the men and the people who love them. And we're going to cap it off at 7 o'clock with an old fashioned jam session.
I
If you
love
got
it.
an instrument, if you got a voice from 7 to 8, we're going to rock the lake.
I love it. And so tell us where it's going to take place.
Okay, it's going to be in Lawrenceville, Georgia at Rhodes Jordan Park, RHODS Jordan Park, 100 East Croghan Street, Lawrenceville, Georgia. Once you enter the park, just follow the sign for the rental pavilions. We'll be at rental pavilion number 1. And I want to give a shout out to my sound man, Ray Stewart, and his beautiful bride, Marcella, who are the owners of intermixradio.com, which my podcast is on. He'll be doing the sound there. And I'm telling you, this brother he's bad. He's bad. He's
Awesome.
bad in a good way. For y'all to, young people, bad used to mean good. So I got to consider my audience. But
Well, I'm
yeah, but
excited.
we're going to be there. Shanita's going to be there. Bernard's going to be there, and want you to be there. It's a fun environment. Bring your food. We're just going to have a good time with some good people. And you probably make some good connections too, personally and probably professionally. And another thing that I will be having is a lot of business people who are supporting me, not financially yet, but they support me in my journey. I'm going to give them an opportunity to speak also. So we're all a village together. And I want to present people in a manner of wrapping around prostate cancer, but having fun, educating people. And hey, I know Shenita can dance. I think Bernard can too. So you can get your dance on too during the jam session.
Yeah, I can.
I'm excited. I'm
Yes,
excited.
it's
And
going to be great. And
yeah,
yeah, Shanita was at the one last year. Bernard was at the one last year
yeah,
also.
Mhm.
yeah.
My urologist, Dr. Anglade, he was part of the panel last year. And we just have a good. Oh, and I got to give a shout out to my friend Phyllis. She's a balloon lady extraordinaire. She's got these commercial balloons. She's got a commercial balloon company, and she'll be out again this year, just as she was last year. Just donating her balloons in her commercial time, which she charges good money for, and she's worth it. So exposing people to people who are out there to make a difference, who are committed to our cause. Thank you.
Awesome. And the time,
Time is from 4 p.m. Eastern time to 8 o'clock p.m. Eastern time.
I love it.
Just and it's a covered pavilion, so even if it rains, like James Brown said, we're gonna have a funky good time. Oh yeah.
And tell them one more time where it's going to be held on Saturday, September
And
23rd.
third, yes, Rose Jordan Park, 100 East Croghan Street in Lawrenceville, Georgia. Follow the signs to the rental pavilions. We're at rental pavilion number 1. Thank you, Shanita. This is going to be so much fun.
Yes, I'm excited
And it's
and
going
I'm
to be like a
happy for
reunion
you.
in a lot of ways, too.
Yeah.
People haven't seen each other since last year.
And so we just want to thank you for your tenacity to make sure people are aware, to use your journey to bless others along the way,
Thank you.
just to be commended. So when you can turn pain into purpose, and
Yes.
you're doing that. And so I'm proud to know you, proud to call you my
Same here.
friend.
Same
um,
here.
I'll be there, and I'm so glad you and Bernard were available this evening. It wasn't by chance that you're here.
Mm-mm.
It was supposed to be. Is by design that you're here. And so I hope that something you all have said or something that I have said will help someone, whether today, tomorrow, next week, next year, that someone will be prompted to get checked, as you said.
Exactly. And
Amen.
you never know who you're gonna meet because I met Bernard through Dr. Conley
Yes.
on a
And
rooftop.
on the rooftop in Midtown Atlanta.
That's right.
I remember.
And I
And
and
great
I met
conversation.
Bernard through his deceased wife, who was
Wow.
absolutely beautiful
Mm,
inside out. And
Hmm.
so I am glad to have him in my circle, and part of our Life After the Rain group, as well as the Abiding Love Project. So
mm,
cheers to life after the rain.
absolutely.
Yes.
And thank you for everything you're doing and all of your endeavors. You know, I met you through, the Life After the Rain. Just a great, great organization that impacts people's lives. I remember we're at the park. I think it was in College Park, the walk that you had, and the councilman brought a guy up who had just lost his wife, and you got him engaged and involved.
It
So
was
we
it was
appreciate all
in
that you do.
it was in Clayton County at the
Clayton County.
International Park. We've done 3 years. We've done 3 walks since the beginning of the walk each year, and so I'm grateful for the opportunity to expand the horizon and to bring people into the fold. I'm actually walking with a widower out of my hometown now through the loss of his wife, who passed away August the 14th.
Sorry to hear that.
And it has been, a blessing to, hear him um, feel better each day.
Yes, absolutely.
And,
Yeah, yeah,
it's a process.
yeah. And I just want to add, I want to thank you because you're talking about a hard subject, Shanita, death. And you're able to
Yes,
get people to talk about it and heal them.
yes,
I'm telling you,
yes,
that's
yes.
that's powerful, and I admire you
Mhm.
for that.
Mhm. And I think about you, Wendell. When I think about you, I think about jazz. My love for jazz, because that's how we met at the
Absolutely.
WCLK St. James Live
Yes.
event. And so back in 2018,
2018.
yeah, 2018. And so, I
5 years.
appreciate the journey that I've had
Mhm.
with you. So thank you for all the support that you've provided me as well. And so
Oh, you're
um,
welcome.
I want to just say thank you again to you and Bernard.
Hmm.
You're
And I wish
welcome.
you all the best. And I can't wait to see both of you on Saturday and get to spend some time with you.
It's going
So
to be
to our
great.
Yep. And to our audience, we want to say thank you all for joining us this evening. And
Hmm.
as I said earlier, I hope that something we have said or shared will bless you, if not tonight, tomorrow, next month, next year, some years down the road, that will help you prevent illnesses for not only yourself, if it's a male, as it relates to prostate cancer, but your loved ones. So thank you again for taking the time to tune in. Bernard, Wendell, again, have a wonderful evening. You both have 30 seconds to say closing words. 30 seconds. Can you do it?
I'll do it first. I do want to mention that men do not like to talk about death, but ladies know we usually got to go before they do. Number one, but number two, I've enjoyed it, and Wendell is definitely going to leave a legacy in all of his efforts to make people aware, men aware of prostate cancer.
Yes. Yes.
In my 30 seconds, I want to encourage everybody to be true to yourself. Show yourself self compassion. Regardless of prostate cancer, whether you're 100% healthy, show yourself self compassion. And the number one people who should show themselves self compassion are caregivers because you can't take care of somebody else unless you take care of yourself. Be like the airlines. If you lose cabin pressure and the baby's in your arm, you got to put the oxygen mask over yourself first. So do that with every aspect of your life. Show yourself self compassion.
I love it. I just want to say thank you, men. And I want you to hold tight for just a moment. And you all have a wonderful evening. Remember, I love you, but God loves you most and he loves you best. Peace, love, joy today and always. Thank you for tuning in.